Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Amanda and I am trying to get better at making art. Back in 2020 when we were all locked at home, I started drawing as a way to keep myself sane, which is something that I hadn't done since high school, because primarily I am a writer, but I think since then I've made a lot of progress. My main mediums are alcohol markers, acrylic markers, and watercolors, and I'm really proud of some of my pieces and very disappointed in others. So for the last couple of years, I've been actively trying to become a better artist, and I thought I could bring you along for the ride. Today, I decided to test some easy watercolor ideas I found online to see if they are really beginner friendly and to see if they're worth trying. Can I learn anything from these? Do they make pretty art pieces, or are they just bland? I've organized this video from simplest to most complex idea. So we're just gonna start by making loose circles with very bright colors. We're gonna make these into sunny faces. The original is from Koliadych, and there will be links to all original videos in the description. The colors I used are on the screen, and I provided a link to this color palette I made in case you would like to take a screenshot. For watercolors, I recommend you get paper that is at least 300 grams. I'm using a pad that is 350 grams, and I got this one from IKEA for like $7, but you can find this in every art shop or even the dollar store. The watercolors I'm using are Ohuhu, and my brushes are a Nik Pro set. There will be links to all of my supplies in the description. Then we're just gonna use a black liner to make some silly faces. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be complicated. Just 2 dots for the eyes and a curved line for the mouth. Watercolors can be a frustrating medium when you're starting out, but I also find it to be very beginner friendly. For one thing, it tends to be cheaper. And for another, even the simplest art you can do with watercolor looks effortlessly pretty. Exceptions apply. The best advice that I can give you if you're starting out is to be patient and to give up trying to control every piece of your art process. Both of which I still struggle to do, which is why I do so much watercolor art. Also, just have fun with the process. This isn't for anybody but yourself, so no one will care if it isn't perfect. This is very simple, but it's also very versatile. You can use this technique to make flowers, animals, or just happy faces like we did today. And if you're not sure you like the result, I've found that even the simplest art piece can look pretty in a mock-up. This next one is from Lacey on Rebel Unicorn Crafts, and she's got a lot of simple watercolor ideas. Her channel is very beginner friendly, so I definitely recommend you check them out. I am going to use a couple more of her ideas in this video. For this one, we're gonna take down the borders just like we did before, and we're also gonna use our painter's tape to create boxes. Again, they don't have to be proportional, they just have to vary in sizes. Inside each square, we're gonna use a very light color to create a base and let it dry. Then we're gonna use a smaller brush or just the tip of the brush that we're already using to create patterns with a contrasting or more saturated color. Red contrasts really well with yellow, and even if it bleeds into the background, it won't be as noticeable as blue, for example. If you think the piece is looking a little too empty, just take your brightest color and make some dots. I don't think this one is particularly cute, but I do think this is a nice way to test colors to see if they can go together. It is also a fun way to practice making patterns without wasting an entire page. This one is also from Lacey from Rebel Unicorn Crafts, and it's a very simple landscape. It is very simple, and we're just gonna layer the colors from lightest to darkest, letting each layer dry in between. I'll be honest, this is where my paper was struggling. Even though this is 350 grams, the page was buckling and soaking in all of the wet. For this particular one, I would recommend using a different brand. The IKEA paper was definitely not made for this level of water. Another issue that you might have is that you have to be patient, and I am most definitely not patient. It's one thing to work on one part of your piece and let it dry while working on another, but I could not touch this page until it was completely dried, and it was driving me crazy. And in the end, for all of the waiting, the result is a little bland. I do believe everything looks prettier if you add a little bit of gold, so I got my dry watercolors and I used gold to make the border around the mountains, or if you have an acrylic marker or a gold Sharpie, that also works. Then I added a sun using the inside of my masking tape to draw a circle. I don't really think the result is that impressive, but this is the easiest landscaping you can make. You just have to learn to sit still while it's drying, and this is a good way to get the basics of watercolors and even the basics of land. We're gonna move on to another creator with great and simple ideas. Her name is Andrea Nelson, and I really recommend you check out her channel. She has a lot of these sorts of exercises that are very simple. For this one, I'm gonna use a bottle cap to make circles. You can use varied sizes or a stencil, but I got lazy, I just wanted to use one. You will want to make sure that your brush has more ink than water, because just the water is not going to leave an impression. I recommend starting with your lighter colors and making your way to the darker ones. This is definitely not what I'm doing because I'm chaotic, but this is the best way to do this technique. You don't need to wait for it to dry completely. We're just gonna use the ink that is already on the page to color the inside of the bubbles. We'll use a clean brush with water, and if you think it's not pigmented enough, that's okay. You can just dip your brush again with a little bit of watercolor, but don't use too much ink. And everything was looking a little too empty, so of course I had to add some dots, and just because I'm extra, I'm also adding a little bit of gold to it. This one is really uncomplicated, and I think it would look pretty cute as a birthday card. For now, we're gonna stick with Andrea, and we're gonna use our pencil to create a very light wavy pattern on the page. You want to keep this very light because we are going to erase it later. Then we're gonna use our brush to make lines, and that is it. Now this one I'm not really testing. Whenever I'm bored and I don't know what to draw, I make one of these. They work great with watercolors, but also alcohol markers and acrylic markers. I made this from the bottom up because of how my camera was set up, but I recommend you start at the top of the page and work your way down. You're also gonna see me move my brush top to bottom, bottom to top, because again, I'm a chaotic person, but I recommend you slide your brush down with a single stroke and with very light pressure. It's just gonna be easier to keep the strokes consistent that way. If you don't have a firm hand, that's fine. Let the lines be messy, let them be squiggly. We're only doing this for fun. But if you really want them to be more precise, try using your full arm and not just your wrist. So we're not gonna flick our wrist with the brush. We're going to drag our entire arm down, bringing the brush along with it. This is effortless, and I think it looks simple and clean. Now we're gonna go back to Lacey. Should I add a trypophobia warning here? I think I'm going to, because we're about to make a lot of small circles. This is a favorite of mine, but it's also the most time consuming. Every other art piece in this video took me somewhere from 5-15 minutes, but this one took me 30 minutes. This is because we're gonna make a lot of tiny circles side by side, fitting the entire page. They don't have to be the same size, they don't have to be the same color. We're just gonna make one circle, then we're gonna add another one next to it, and then another, and so on until we have the full page. If your ink is dry, they're just gonna sit next to each other, and if it's not, the colors will bleed nicely into each other. This is one of the few that I tested before recording because I wasn't sure how the colors would work out, and I wanted to give you an example of what it looks like with many colors. I recommend you choose 2 complementary colors and you alternate between them. That's just gonna make it look a little more clean. This next one is from Alyssa, and again, all original videos are linked in the description. This one might have been my favorite. We're gonna use some very loose rectangular shapes to make books. Just like before, they don't have to be perfect. We're gonna use complementary colors, and we're gonna start with the lightest one, making some rectangles and leaving some space between them. Then in between, we're gonna use a medium shade and add more rectangles, repeating the process with our darkest color until we have a stack. And you can tell my stack is quite unsteady, but that's okay. If you want, you can add something at the top. I'm following Alyssa's tutorial, so I'm going to add a tiny little cute coffee cup with a heart-shaped steam cloud. Then we're gonna use our liner and we're gonna fill in the details of the box. You can use a ruler if you want to make straight lines, but I like freehanding these things. You can write down the title of your favorite book, but I just wanted to add some easy decorations to the spine, so I used squares, circles, a couple of lines with a white gel pen, and of course a little bit of gold to make everything more interesting. Honestly, I would put this in a book nook. I think it's lovely, and I've been making many of these lately. I might even make a full video on what to do with this technique. What do you think? Now for our very last project, we're gonna go back to Andrea and we're gonna make some jellyfish. I have seen a lot of different interpretations of this from several artists, but the tutorial that I am following is from Andrea. We're starting with our lightest shade and creating a background and letting it dry. I thought of changing my colors for this one, but I think my pink and orange jellyfish in a yellow sea, it's pretty cute. Then we're gonna make a semicircle, and we're using the same technique we did for the bubbles at the beginning of the video. We're gonna make all of the outlines, and then we're gonna use a clear brush with water to smudge the watercolor inside the shape. Then we're gonna make the tentacles using very loose lines. We're just gonna touch the bottom of our jellyfish and pull it down. They don't have to be equal. The most variety you can get, the better. We want more volume. If you want to add more details to the body of the jellyfish, you can add more color to the bottom and just make it a little round. We're gonna touch the tip of our brush and pull it up very gently with a soft curve, and it's gonna make the jellyfish feel a little more rounder. Then we can use a white gel pen and a bit of gold to add some highlights and some more details. And I also use the liner for the tentacles just to add more volume. Now, I don't think that this is my best work, but I do think it's simple, it's fun, and the result is really pretty. And there you have it, 8 easy watercolor ideas tested that you can try right now. I think my least favorite is likely the landscape because it is a little bland, gold details notwithstanding. And of course the favorite is the stack of books. I'm gonna make so many of these. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you try any of these, please make sure to tag me. All of my socials are on the screen and in the description box, and I'll see you in the next one.